Big ideas on darkened ships, passing through the night, unseen, unnoticed, unknown, are outshined by the brightest ship of big ideas, captained by John Limbacher.
Oh, that's classic. All right, here we go, June 24th. And thank you, Tim, for the acknowledgement there. As of today, I've been married 32 years. And I didn't think I was old enough for that. I must have got married at like 3 years old or something. Oh, anyway, a few things I want to bring up here before we get cooking. And if anybody has anything specific that you want me to cover, please feel free to, raise your hand or interrupt me or whatever, because the call is really for you guys. It's not for me to just blabber on. If I have stuff to talk about if you don't, but I would prefer to answer your questions and do whatever you need. So keep that in mind. If I get on a roll and you got something you want, don't be afraid to jump in and interrupt.
Okay, I'll jump in and interrupt whenever you're ready.
All right. Give me just a second. I do have one announcement here. One of our members passed away last week. John Crago from Australia. And I know you guys have probably seen him on the calls. Really, really nice guy. He was in perfect health and had a massive heart attack and they couldn't revive him. And so he is no longer with us. So that's kind of a bummer. I really enjoyed working with him. So anyway, I just wanted to let you guys know about that. If any of you knew him, Roy, I don't know if you knew him. I think he was in the SEO circles. But anyway, another thing in the SEO circles, as long as we're there, there's a new algorithm shift or whatever you want to call it called MUM. So when it comes to SEO now, MUM's the word. And it's really funny, they come up with all these names and I don't know if it's Google or I think it's Google behind this one anyway, but they come up with all these different names for the same old stuff. Now, the thing about MUM is not new. Google wants you to think it's new. They throw the shit out there to get you redirected and running in one direction and then the next. It's a massive redirect. It's a massive confusion play. And that's where Google wants us. They want the SEO world upside down all the time. That's the only way they can get in control. And when they don't have anything new, they just come up with a new name for something old. So we think it's new. But, in looking at MUM and what they're calling MUM now, it is not new. It's anything but new. In fact, it goes back to the days when their Penguin algorithm came out and things shifted toward conversational anchor text. That's really what MUM is it's the deciphering of Google to figure out the intent of a search. Now, one of the things that is happening that Google anticipated long, long ago was search phrases would get longer and more complicated, and they would have to have a means to figure out what does this search phrase mean. And one of the biggest drivers of this has been voice search. Like, I know you've seen kids get on their phones and they say, "Hey, Google," and then they'll ask this big, long, convoluted question. Well, to Google, that's a search phrase, and it has to figure out what the hell does this little bastard want. And that's what's going on. So that's really what they're calling MUM, is they're trying to decipher what long search phrases mean. And what they're discovering is most people don't know what they mean. They don't know what they want. So if you noticed in the Google algorithm or in the Google search results pages recently, and when I say recent, like the last year or two, you're seeing a lot more Q&A kind of questions, these snippets at the top where it'll have a bunch of different answers to questions. And, it's basically saying, is this what you're looking for? is this what you mean with that big convoluted phrase you threw at me? Now, those snippets should be really important if you're interested in driving traffic at your site, because those snippets, those are like page rank 0. You know, everybody's trying to get a page rank 1. They're trying to get to the top. Well, those are like being above the top. So 0 in this case is better than 1. You don't want the number 1 spot. You want the number 0 spot. And the way to get in those spots is to create content based on a bunch of related questions and answers to any given long-term or long-tail search phrase. So it's like you want to be the authority on any given subject. So you want to answer all the questions. So Q&A documents rank really well for this stuff. You know, if there's a search phrase that you particularly want traffic for, figure out what all the questions are related to that keyword and do a Q&A sheet on your website with short chunks of content, because that's what Google's looking for. It's looking for those snippets. It'll grab the snippet and display it and say, if this is what you're looking for, we have a good content piece over here for you. So hopefully that was worth waiting for, Tim. Now you can have the floor.
Oh my gosh, I'd never thought about that.
Yeah.
And I've seen those. When I Google, I've seen those because I go through them every time before I go down to the results.
Oh, hell yeah. They're very, very good. You want those snippets.
I got to learn how to create them more.
Page rank 0 is what you want.
Page rank 0. New hashtag, page rank 0.
You know, it's funny. I've had an article up about that for probably 4 years now on the site. It's in the training area under traffic under the SEO section.
Okay. I'll have to go look at that training.
And now it has a word. Mum's the word.
Mum's the word.
You call that a rank 0 exploit?
Yeah, that's actually what I called it when I released the article about it. It was called it rank 0.
I'm gonna go look through. I'm gonna go through the article now. But boy, John, man, you just every week you surprise me.
It's frightening, isn't it?
I know
the depth of my depravity. No, it's I learn this stuff not by like doing heavy research and all that stuff. I just learn by observation. I look at stuff and question everything. I'm like, that's interesting. Why would they do that? What's behind that? What's causing that? What's driving that? And usually I can answer most of the questions just out of common sense. So that's really where I got it. And, we were talking about Father's Day last week or the week before, whatever it was. And that was one of the things I think that my dad embedded in my little brain when I was growing up was, you need to learn things every day. You should have your eyes peeled for what is it that you can learn today. And he always, right before dinner, he would call me over every night and say, what did you learn today? And nothing was not an acceptable answer unless you were in a coma. So I walk through life every day because of that, looking at, what can I learn from everything? And I've learned a tremendous amount about Google and search engines just because of that skill set. Just looking at it and say, why?
That's so awesome.
Takes other people years to figure out by crunching the data what I can look at and say, oh, I know how that works.
So that's why I had a question today, because I've been trying to learn something.
Okay, cool.
And literally, so a couple of weeks ago, a thing popped up on my news feed. So of course, I always go buy things when I can check them out. And I got this little thing. Most of you guys will see me do a video on it later. This little dot in the back of my phone. But I created a website because it's working without a business card, so I can tap against your phone. All right, and you go in and set it up. It's the product is designed to get people to go to their website and get your information.
Sure.
But there's a trick I found to get around it, to make them go to a mobile website that you create. I've actually, and I have it just on my regular website right now with an optimized press, but I'm thinking about creating this with a Kartra page.
Okay.
And this is where I need your help, is because I want to be able to create a tag if they visit that.
Okay.
All right. And is there a way that, you know, I mean, if they're in a system, it tags them, it doesn't put, it may not put them on my list, but I at least know, you know, Roger looked at it.
Yeah. Now, I haven't really tested that inside of Kartra, but what the tag for a page, like if somebody visits a page and for it to put a tag on them, they have to be in your database already.
I've had a few pop up that aren't in my database, and it's like there's nothing there. That's why I was wondering if I could try this out.
Okay, that's interesting.
So if you don't know, then I'm going to go research it and learn about it so I can tell you.
Okay, that's interesting. I'm not sure how it would do that.
Yeah.
I know how it does it if it's in the database.
Well, but there also is, like, you know what I mean? If they don't, like, they go to a sales page and they don't buy, I got it tagged as, you know what I mean? Left page or abandoned.
Here's a logical explanation for how it could have happened. If they're not in your database, they might be in someone else's Kartra database.
That's what I'm hoping to use this idea with. Is suppose, you know, Jeffrey or Roger clicks onto it and they're in your database, which is in Kartra, and now it comes by and it says, well, Roger looked at your page. I don't necessarily have Roger there on my list, but at a future place, I could run ads on a Facebook or Google things to a like audience.
Yeah.
Roger's seen me at an event, just met me for the first time, looks at this page, and goes, yeah, I'll get back to that later. But then he opens Facebook to look at his niece's prom dress, and all of a sudden an ad pops up from me going, hey, you know what I mean? That's what I want to do with it. And I want to see if I can do that.
Well, the reason you can do that in Facebook is because Facebook is a community. Everyone's logged in to Facebook's master database. So that's easy. Yeah. But if they're not inside there, like if they're just on a random web page somewhere, and they're not in a database, the data hasn't been collected yet, what you can do is you can put a cookie on their browser, so you can identify them later. Or in the case of like doing retargeting ads, for instance, the cookie goes on their browser, and then when a page displays that has an advertisement widget on it, what the widget does is the widget looks at the browser to see if there's any cookies that relate to it. If there is, then it checks it against its database of advertisers and says, do we have a match here? And if it does, then that ad will display. If it doesn't, then just a random ad out of the mix will display. Okay. But like with Kartra is kind of similar to your scenario in Facebook. If someone has been to a Kartra page from anyone in the universe, it's in their system, just like somebody in Facebook is in their system, whether they're your friend or not, whether they've signed up for any of your pages or your lists or not, they're still in that universe. So I could see how that would work, but it would be very mystical and magical for somebody that's not in a Kartra database anywhere to land on your page and be tagged and show up inside there with their data. I'm not sure how they would pull that off.
Well, no, I believe that's not going to be, but I do believe that there are more and more people who are getting into Kartra, other people's Kartra databases. And that's where I think,
there's millions. Yeah, absolutely. There's absolutely millions of them for sure.
But you just helped me think about a different way to do it, though, John, is possibly use that page with a pixel from Facebook and collect that and run ads to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So basically now I run a training video of some sort to those people on Facebook, a short 3-minute video. So.
Yeah. Several years ago, Ryan Deiss and Perry decided to stop trying to get people to opt in. They're like, we don't care about our list anymore, our email list. What we care about is our retargeting list. Yeah. So that became their new list source, and they started giving out free data. What they would do, they still had the landing page, but they had click here to see, they just didn't have them opt in. So the only way they could get to that back page was by clicking. So that gave them the clear call to action signal that this person's interested and we're going to target them. Not just that they landed on the page, because that doesn't indicate they're interested. But when somebody clicks and they go to the secondary page, that's what they treated as their opt-in.
Okay.
So that's how they did it. They built massive databases full of retargeting prospects by doing that. And, you know, they often offer really good, compelling content. They have great calls to action. They're really good at the big idea process is what they are. So they build massive lists, and the bigger the list, the bigger your opportunity to make money is. You know, there's no doubt about it. The bigger the list, the bigger your opportunities. If you've got no list, then, you know, let's say you need to make $1 today, just $1. That's all you need. You need $1. You got to have it. And you don't have a list. You're kind of hosed. What are you going to do? You know, you're going to have to go start knocking on doors and shit like that. But, you know, if you've got a list of 100 people, you could send an email out, or you could do a retargeting ad out to those 100 people, and your chances of being able to pull in $1 is pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, the bigger your list, the more of those dollars, your odds go up radically. Like I don't have a big list. I'll tell you that right now. I've never gone crazy. I've never, you know, created jumbo lists. The biggest list I think I've ever had is like 10,000 people. And, you know, it's pared down. It's, you know, you weed out the bad ones. And so with a list of less than 10,000 people, on at least a half a dozen occasions, I have sent out an affiliate email to that list and made in excess of $10,000 with one email on at least a half a dozen occasions. And in many cases, it was less than that because I'd filter the list down. I don't send just anything to my entire list. If it's not relevant, I don't send it, because it's worse than the fact that you're just not going to make money off that portion of the list. You're going to alienate that portion of the list. So it really does you damage to not segment your list.
That's what I did now. I mean, I finally, yesterday was my last day with one shopping cart, and everything I have is in Kartra, which is what I've spent the past month doing, is trying to emails, trying to get people to cross over. Some of you have seen them who are on my list and went, oh, I got to go opt in because I'm going to be going. But yeah, that's what I did. I gave away my original blogging program for free to get people to move over. Yeah.
Have you tried any presupposition subject lines?
I've tried so many different subject lines. You wouldn't believe I over 30 different subject lines to get the people to move over.
John, explain that kind.
A presupposition.
Go ahead.
A presupposition is basically you're assuming a fact. You're assuming something ahead of schedule. It's very different. Like, I know over the last few weeks, I've talked about the meaning of words. Like, one single word can change everything. And that's really what this is at work. Like, let's say I put out a subject line that says John Limbacher is the best SEO guy in the world. Right.
I'll back that up.
Well, yeah, you might, but 99% of the population is going to go, yeah, bullshit. That's a crock. He's full of it. Right. That's a statement. It's like me trying, it's like a salesperson. They get this icky feeling like I'm going to sell them something. But if you change it up and you say, what makes John Limbacher so good at SEO? Now all of a sudden they're like, oh shit, I better open that. I want to know why he's so good. See the difference? That's presupposition. It's presupposing that this guy is really freaking good. And we want to know why. What is it about him? What is he doing? Very, very different meaning with a couple of words shifted. Yeah, go ahead, Roger.
John, I interjected and steered you away from Tim talking about his email. So I want to get you back there and mention that this is a subject I'd love to see you circle back on, maybe on a near future call.
Yeah, anything you guys want to know. I mean, I don't really know what I know until you ask.
I got my answer, so we can move on to someone else. Trust me, and I'll learn a ton of other things on the next person's question.
I mean, seriously, that was one of the things I learned when I was teaching the 12 people, the ACT program. I worked with these 12 people for an entire year because I not only wanted them to be successful, I wanted to know what I didn't know about what they needed. And it was a real eye-opener to just the way I piece things together, the way I learn and the way I pack it away, and I can just grab it, out of the sky. And I really just don't know how much is there that is important to you guys. But if you ask, whatever I've got, I can pull it up with instant recall. I just can't just like search through my own database and figure out what it is that you need. So if that makes sense, that's just kind of what it seems like to me. I'm a computer. You just need to know how to use me.
Well, I mean, I was saying that very concept to my mastermind, last night, and just explaining to them, I need you guys to come in here to spar my brain, to get me to think.
Yeah.
I've been trying to solve my own problems for 10 years. The truth is, I got to go listen to John and Craig and Frank, all right, to get my problem solved, all right? But when you come in here, you give me a problem to solve, wow, I come to life, it's like, I love that. Same thing.
Yeah. That's just the way it works. It was funny when I kind of realized what that was. I was in an airport and I was just sitting looking out the window, and this big jumbo jet pulled right in front of me. I mean, it just pulled right up in front of my face, and I could see the pilot in there, and something clicked with me. I'm like, I was thinking about flight, like what that guy has to go through. What training does he need? What's the difference between him and me? Could I get in that seat and fly that thing? And I'm like, well, what would he say if I asked him, how do you fly this plane? He would tell me, oh, it's easy. You sit in the seat, you get clearance from the tower, you taxi out on the runway, you take off at this airspeed, you pull up, and you navigate to New York and you land, right? That's what he'd tell me. But it's his unconscious competency that's the difference between him and me. If I do it, I'm going to kill everybody on board, right? It's not going to be good because I don't have all those little layers of unconscious competency that he has. He's got, a decade worth of experience and things that he wouldn't even know to tell me. So that's what it is. It's unconscious competency. Whenever we get a skill set, we've built it. It just didn't pop into our head. It's a skill set that you get over time, and it's layered. It's like when a child is born, they don't know how to run, right? They don't really even know how to crawl. They know how to lay there and hope something comes into their mouth, right? And then eventually they'll not like laying on their back, and they'll figure out how to roll over. Well, the next time they want to roll over, they don't even have to think about it. They're like, oh, I want to go there. And boom, it happens, right? And then they learn how to take a step, and then they walk, and then they run. And they never think backwards to how did I get here? It's unconscious competency. It's flying an airplane. It's doing SEO. It's doing marketing. It's creating big ideas. I don't care what it is that you're doing. If you've done it before, it gets easier. And pretty soon you don't have to think about it anymore. And then you don't know what you know. At some point, it's too far back to realize how you got here. But if somebody asks you a specific question, boom, you can have their answer like right now.
Here's a specific question.
Okay.
Tim is bringing your list over from one shopping cart to Kartra. And you have told us previously that you don't want to import your list because any bad emails on there that get rejected can cause your entire list to get rejected.
Correct.
So he needs to send emails, and has been, that says, I need you, my people, to go to this new list. And you said if you try to presupposition subject line, craft one for that use case. That's my question. Can you craft one for that use case?
Oh, gotcha. You could almost use the same variation of the one that I just used, of what is so special about Tim's new list? You know, why are people flocking to Tim's new list? You're presupposing that people are flocking there, and there must be a reason. So it's kind of like and specifically, he could get specific about that. He could put details in there, you know, about whatever they're going to get when they get on that list, and he can presuppose the outcome for them.
That teaser would make me think that there's going to be some bonus beyond what Tim's already doing, his great, incredibly affordable, good, valuable stuff that he's already doing. And that if I join this list, there's going to be yet something else. Is that kind of setting Tim up for an obligation to offer a bonus if you join his new list?
Well, he may already have it. He might have already told these people why they need to go. And now he can come in with a presupposition of you won't believe, or, you know, you could say, how are the people on his new list getting such good results from using the thing that he's given away?
Wait, John, you're saying that in the body of the email requesting them to join the new list, you don't write, hey guys, I know this sucks. This software is such a pain, but here's what I need you to do as a favor to me, right? That doesn't do it.
Well, that'll do it for a few. That will, when you look at your list, you're going to have people at all different levels of engagement with you. You're going to have some people that would do anything you told them to do, just because you told them to do it. That's going to be the fewest people on the list. And those people, you know, any email will do. You're going to get the good ones, you know, anyway, but you want to take as many as you possibly can. So you need to start getting a little craftier with your messaging. You need bribes, bonuses, reasons to go. You know, like whenever you ask somebody to do something, whether it's paid or not, there's a price to it. You're asking them to do something, even signing up for an email list, you know, they're going to have objections, and they're going to look at value. If they're going to look at it like a scale, you know, like the justice scale where you weigh on one side, well, you know, if I do that, what do I get out of it? That's the way we all work. You know, we're looking at it as, do I want to do that? Is it worthwhile? And Tim on this side of the scale, he's stacking up all the value to make it worth doing this thing that he's asking them to do. So they might have objections. So he might want to eliminate those objections. I don't know what the objections might be. The objection might be, I just don't want any more email. So he might say, hey, this new email list, I'm tagging you specifically, and I'm only going to send you specific things you really need, you don't want to miss. You know, there's all kinds of conversational angles at it, and not one is going to work for everybody. That's why, you know, I tell everybody you should hit your list at least 10 times with 10 different angles before you give up on them. And those presuppositions those can be really powerful, really compelling, you know, and it's the difference between them even opening the email or not. You know, you might send them 9 emails that are not presupposed, and they didn't even open them. They didn't even look at them. But this person is valuable to you. So it might be worth sending one more just to get their attention. You know, subject lines, don't think that you're beyond a big idea in a subject line. Big ideas are your greatest attention grabbers. You should be coming up with big ideas for why they want to get on your new list. You know, those are.
I gave my my last email to the whole list. I mean, there was only 600 that didn't transfer over, and some of those 600 I haven't heard from in 3+ years, so I wasn't worried about it. But my last email was my last email to name. And one person, a bunch of people transferred on it, but one person wrote back and like all offended. I can't believe you're taking me off your list. How much? I mean, and like, I wrote back to him, I have been trying to write to you for the past 90 days, letting you know that I'm no longer using this system. However, if you move over, I'm gladly giving you an extra bonus.
Yeah.
When I responded with that email to him, it wasn't like 60 seconds later, I got the pop-up from Kartra that they were signing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just didn't read it. They read the headline only. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, one of Ryan Deiss's most popular subject lines is "I hate goodbyes." People are like, "Goodbye? What? You know, where's he going? Is he retiring? Is he sick? You know, anything compelling, you know, say, hey, it looks like this is our last communication. I'm really sorry." They're going to go, what? You know, anything to grab their attention, anything to get them to click that thing, to open that email and see what you have to say. And say it fast. Don't do big old drawn out long emails, you know, short chunks. When you're writing email content specifically, break your sentences down into very, very short sentence breaks. You know, your sentence could be longer, but break it in half to where it's only, you know, it's very short. Because when your eyes go like this to read something, that's rough. That is rough on your prospect. No one will admit it, but it's hard. It's harder than scanning up and down. So when your text is in a little short, narrow column, even if the sentence is on 3 lines, I don't care. That short, narrow column is so easy to look at, so easy to read, and so easy to consume and digest and understand. It just works better. Frank's known that for a long time. Frank Kern was, you know, that was his whole mass control thing, was teaching people how to use email to make a shitload of money. And that was one of the things that he always did. If you look at any of his emails, you know, they're just a few little chunks. and it's so easy to read them. It's, you know, he gets his message through that way.
I study his emails before I write every new email. I study his emails.
Yeah.
I've got 3 folders of his emails in my email box.
Yeah. It's funny. I just wrote an article actually about Mum for the people over at Dory Friends SEO group. She's got SEO rock stars, and she's been around, you know, almost as long as I have. I think she was probably the one, it was either her or Ryan Deiss that coined me as the godfather of SEO. I think it was her. And then Ryan picked up on it. And anyway, she had asked me if I would be one of her writers and write content about SEO. And I told her, I'm like, the way I write is going to be very different than the way the rest of your people write. And she's like, that's okay. She goes, I just want you. So I wrote an article about the whole Mum thing and sent it to her yesterday. And she just thought it was awesome, because I write as though if you read it, it will be just like you hearing me talk to you right now. You know, it's in the slang. It's not proper English in the slightest, but it's just the way I talk. And when people read that, they'll hear me, you know, so it's like when I talk about writing copy, you want to read it aloud before you publish it. If you stumble on it, it's not right. If you stumble on saying it, somebody's going to stumble on reading it. They're not going to understand it. And if you do stumble on it, you've probably overcomplicated it. It doesn't need to be complex. You know, you're not trying to impress a college professor here. You're trying to communicate with somebody specifically, which is your avatar, which you should know a lot about them from your analysis process. You should know their language. You should know their slang. You should know the words that they know and understand from any given industry. You know, if you go into any industry, I don't care what it is, manufacturing, retail, cosmetics, whatever. If you walk in there and never had any exposure to that industry, you'll think they're talking in a different language because they use words that are meaningful to them. It's slang, it's you know, product names, it's things they talk about that's in their little group. And if you use words that your prospect does not understand, you alienate them. It's okay to introduce them to new words, though. I don't want you to like not say words because you don't think they're going to know what they are. But if you do, introduce them to it. Tell them what it means. What Frank calls that bringing them into the fold. When you bring someone into the fold, you automatically create an instant bond because you're separating them from us. When you teach somebody your language, they are now part of us. So you've separated them, you've brought them over the fence. They're no longer them, they're now us. Us is a very tight click group, no matter how you slice it. It's gone on since you were able to walk. There's been click groups. You've seen it in school. Those kids had a different language. They would say things, they would do things that had meaning to them, and it was a them versus us. And they didn't want you in their little group. So you felt alienated, right? It's the same thing today. It's the same thing with marketing. You do not want to alienate your prospects. So teach them your language, bring them into the fold, make them part of us, and they will convert. You know, they will feel more warm and fuzzy to you if you teach them a word and what it means than you can imagine. And, you know, I've been doing this very, very naturally for a long time. And it's amazing. I mean, I come in contact with people I've never met, I've had no knowledge of, and they're talking to me like I'm their best friend because they've just heard me. They've, you know, and they've created a bond. I've created a bond with them. I don't even know them. I've never even met them. But that's how I can send an email out to a small group and make $10,000 doing it. You know, that's how it's done. That's how it happens. Now, if you took a list that didn't know you and you didn't have a bond with, I don't care how big it is, you're not going to get those kind of results. So hopefully that makes sense. But you create relationships, and the internet is such a beautiful thing because it allows you to do that on a massive scale. You know, if I had to go out and do this one-on-one, I would not have the success that I have because I'd probably shrivel up and die if that's the way I had to go through life. I've, you know, since I can remember, I've been somewhat introverted. You know, you might not think that, but I have been. I am about as introverted as they get. But I have learned that, hey, you know, there's only so much money in that bottle. So I've learned to come out of that bottle. But I always want to go back in it. It's where I'm comfortable. It's where I'm most comfortable. Like there's no place where I am more productive than sitting in my hot tub alone, just alone with my thoughts. The more people that come into my sphere, the less effective I become. Like if I'm in a room, like I really don't like parties. I don't like social events because if I've got more than one or two people that I can hear at any given time, I just want to go out of my mind. I can't focus on more than one thing at a time. And you put me in a room with 10 people talking and they're all trying to out-talk each other and it's just getting louder and louder. I just want to start shooting somebody and it ain't myself. So you know, I don't know how the hell I got on that topic, but Allie, you had a question?
Oh, yeah. First of all, thank you. I love your sense of humor. It's so funny. I got it. I totally relate in many ways. Roger asked a great question, and I appreciated the distinction on learning about presuppositions. I love that. So I translated it into a few things. I'm really working hard, you guys, on getting my shiitake together. So here's some of my art in the background. I'm preparing. If anybody, well, I'm having trouble. I need to get my work shot, and so that I could put it up on my website and then make prints available, because these are all originals, all across. I set my living room up like an art gallery. I literally gave away our couch and sofa. so we have nowhere to sit, but hey, who needs a seat when you have art? Anyway, so I was thinking, what makes Allie's whatever blank so special, and all I wrote down all those sentences. But would this be, my brain always goes to wanting to ask you, combining the personality card technology, like I don't know, John, you know how some people know the disc, and some people, you know, the 4 personality types and whatnot. Would that be like this, you know what I'm talking about? Like,
Yeah.
so it, like when Tim said he put out 30, I signed up for, I was a good top client, and so I signed up when I saw them. But I appreciate the repetition, because I get so many emails and they just get buried. So I kind of wanted to know, like, how would you speak to like all the different personality types in an email headline, that, or maybe that's what Tim did. I don't know. Or maybe that's what you do. Maybe you combine it all.
No,
you know?
the thing is, like when Allie's talking about the 4 colors, there's been a lot of different things throughout history where people describe personality traits. And one of the famous ones in marketing is the 4 colors. And, you know, they've got these 4 colors, and it basically represents a different type of avatar. Now, the avatar can always have the same needs. You can have somebody in all 4 color groups that's the perfect person for your product or your service. But the thing is, you can't talk to them all differently. And really, when you've got 4 colors, you better times that by 2, because you've got male and female. And the male and females operate very different in those color spectrums because of their core drivers. But the, you know, the 4, basically, if I remember this correctly, you've got one of the 4 colors represents bean counters. Those are people that are very analytical. These are people that, like, if you don't give them all the facts, they're not going to buy it.
Isn't that the Joe category?
Yeah.
Joe's the bean counter. And then you've got the people that are the warm and fuzzy, the do-gooders, and they just want to save the world. And you got to speak very lovingly to them, or you'll alienate them. And then you've got another group that they are the rah-rahs. These are the people that were like the cheerleaders,
the Craigs.
The ones that are very outspoken. They're go-getter. They're like captain of the football team. They're that crowd. And you know, they are very much motivated toward rewards. You know, they want status. They want, you know, they're the kind of people that will buy a car they can't afford just to show up at a party and look good. So different drivers. And then the last one, what's the last one? We got the bean counter.
The last one is like, you've got knowledge, nurturing, action, and then the blueprint is like, disc, dominate. Like they're well, I think that wrong. I think like stability and structure and responsibility and duty and credentials. I'm
The
reading.
driver.
Yeah, they're looking for a plan. They're very logical. They're looking for a plan.
Right.
They want to know that your credentials are there and you know what you're doing and all that. So those people, like if you don't have credentials, that's one of the reasons why you want to write a book. You know, if you don't have authority, if you don't have credentials, if you're not established, if you don't have any track record, that's a great reason to write a book. You know, because you can take a subject line and you can say, hey, I wrote the book on that subject. And that gives you credibility just having done it. But like, I haven't written a book. I don't have that piece of credibility. I never felt that I really needed it. And my results showed I didn't. Like, I can walk into a room of those people and I can basically talk with authority, show results from authority, and that's it. That's all they need. They see it.
Right. Well, you talk from your core competence and your track record. Oops. Oh, I'm just dropping phones everywhere.
But here's the thing. I didn't always have that, but I was always taught to speak with authority or don't speak at all.
Right.
You know, that was from a very early age that was ingrained into me. You better know what you're talking about, or you better shut up and listen. and then you will know what you're talking about, and then you can take your turn, but don't speak out of turn. You know, it's when people start talking and they're just talking for the sake of talking that you'll see the prospect's eyes roll back and they'll start questioning whether they should even spend their time with this person. Silence is golden. You know, I have sat in conversations where I did not say a word and people thought I was the smartest one at the table. I have no idea how the hell that works, but I guess it was just by the fact that everyone else spoke and destroyed themselves. That might have been all I.
Right.
I just won by attrition.
Oh, I doubt it. But hey, John, I wanted to ask you, I was talking to someone yesterday and trying to recreate the value of some of your products. And I want to know how to connect you to. How do I do that, Johnny?
Like as
Johnny
an affiliate?
Well, as an affiliate, but also I just feel like I really created the value of him meeting you and working with you and looking at some of the products that you have because of his business. And so I didn't know quite how to do the connection. What do I do? Like, do I send him a link from you, or how do I?
Well, let's say it's a particular product. Like, let's say you feel they would really benefit from the ACT program or this.
No, he's got a really successful business, and it was the one where the SEO one where people have the phones all over the world.
Okay, gotcha.
What's that one?
That's SitePop.
SitePop.
Here's the thing with SitePop. SitePop is sold two different ways. SitePop is sold as a product and it's also sold as a service. There's a lot more money in selling it as a service. So if this was like a business owner and he needs the service, you would want to introduce it as a service option. And you don't even want him to know that it's available as a product, because as a product, it's a fraction of the price. And when you're talking about fractional pricing and your commissions, you don't want fractional commissions. You want as much as you can get. So referring that as a service to a business owner is the right way to go.
Okay. So I guess I don't know how to do that either. How do I refer? And I thought it would be good for him to talk to you about. And he has two daughters that have successful businesses. So potentially it's 3 different businesses that could, you know, whatever, however I don't know how it all works. I just knew that I needed to make the connection between you two.
Sure. Well, the best way for that particular service is probably for you to make the introduction, I will know ahead of time that I'm going to give him your affiliate link when it comes time to, to sign him up. And we just have a conversation. We have a call. We just schedule a Zoom call. I'll talk to him. I'll tell him how it works. And when it's time for him to buy it, I'll just give him your affiliate link.
Okay, good.
That
So
way you
then
get credited for the sale.
should I like reserve time, a 15-minute window or something to talk to you about all that? Okay, because I wanted to do that as soon as possible, because I talked to him just yesterday about it and he was like writing furious notes. And he's my art business coach. And I said, listen, my business mentor is brilliant and he's the god of SEO. I said, he's a mad scientist, stealth, scary, smart, So anyway, he was like, oh my God, I'm really interested. And I said, okay, I'm going to talk to him tomorrow. So I want to keep my word and make some kind of connection. You know what I mean? Like before it goes cool.
You can just have him go right onto the site, the Internet Dominators site, and there's a 15-minute free consult right there on the homepage, right at the top.
Okay, good. That's what I'll do.
Sign him up with that, and I'll talk to him, figure out, what's the right thing for him, and make sure I give him your affiliate links when we sign him up.
Okay, good. All right. Thank you. Sorry, you guys. Well, maybe y'all know people you want to connect to. So I never can, I just needed to check in and do it right.
No problem. No problem. There's no wrong way to make money, right?
Right. Yes. Well, yeah, I just wanted to check in and make sure I could figure it out. And then I told him all about you. So I probably wove a web of like, you'll have to like pull it all apart and tell, explain all your services properly. Cause I was like, and he can do this and he does that. And, it was funny because it was my coaching call and I like spent a half an hour creating this with him, which was a big blessing anyway. Cause I'm trying to figure out, and I have to talk to Tim. I'm trying to figure out, like, I know you suggest WordPress, and I have this other thing that I wanted to talk to you about that I'm creating. It's a service that has, you could do unlimited website, but the reason I invested in it for me was because of the back end. It helps create artificial intelligence, like daily posts and everything, content, blogs, Facebook ads. And it's really very interesting. And I wanted to talk to you about it offline so that, even getting on a Zoom call and you could look at my back end, the back, whatever office. But so I'm figuring out if I need the word. I'm trying to figure out how to make this work with you and with creating Facebook Live, very targeted ads, because that's what my art business mentor does. He's mastered the Facebook ad realm, and he like drills down everything you talk about in ACT and everything you're doing here. He's like mastered it, and he literally will go in and just target the perfect audience. So, and then I told him about you, and I said, I think that you and John, it would be an awesome combination. And my brain started melting down, and he's been very successful for all the artists work. He's branching out because he can help anybody, but artists are a little bit like we're left of center. So let's move on. But anyway, I'm trying to figure out how to make the WOW website with some videos that are really well done and well edited, and then use the videos as ads to very targeted markets, to people that, want and are looking for art, or, business owners. I know we've come out of COVID, but, for creating beautiful spaces. Anyway, so I'm trying to figure out how to make all these pieces fit. And so that's what I'm trying to do. And I have this other piece that is different, and I'm trying to integrate it. And so I need to talk to like you and then Tim and this other man's name is David, so that I could get it all fitting and working together. Because I can't figure out how to do my Facebook Lives without a camera person. So Rich has been taking work off and coming home and like holding the camera while first I talk and then I show him what I'm actually doing. And so that's one of my dilemmas, which I want to talk to Tim about. And then with you, I'm trying to figure out which website to build on and how to get them all connected. And then I want to eventually use some of the things, however you tell me what will work best for me. And with him, I'm trying to develop the very micro niched Facebook ads to be super effective. And I'm working off of, I'm redesigning my Facebook business page so that I'm in the midst of trying to pull it all together, John, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm working on. And so I'm listening to you in light of trying to piece it all together in my brain. I almost never know what question to ask, but then I hang up when we get off the call. I'm like, oh shoot, I should have, So anyway, that was a lot of back explanation to say what I'm up to. And so I'm just listening to learn, you guys. So I appreciate all your questions. Thank you.
Oh, cool. All right. I see Gwen is back from her road trip. You got your hand up there?
Yes, got a quick question.
Okay.
I basically wanted to know what your intake was, or your perspective with the whole thing of the cookies and tracking and everything going more private, like from Apple to now Google Chrome's announcing they're going to take it off and third-party cookies off. And so I was just kind of curious of how that's going to work with retargeting and that aspect of things.
Well, it's an interesting question for sure. I know how everybody would like it to be.
Yeah.
Whenever there's a lot of money behind something, it's hard to get rid of it. So I know people don't like to be tracked and targeted, but I gotta tell you, it's kind of cool. Like after I got my boat, I don't know how they knew, but they knew I had a boat. I started seeing ads, all kinds of stuff. And it was just the coolest shit I never even knew was available.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, that's awesome. But I know, there's some people that for whatever reason, they don't like that. They feel it's an invasion of privacy or, whatever. But, the reality is we're playing on other people's platforms. And, it's almost like, hey, if you don't like it, don't play that game. You could stay off of Facebook if you don't like to be retargeted on Facebook or whatever. It's kind of the thing of what's the price versus the value. Now, from a legal standpoint, there's the whole legal area, which, I'm obviously not qualified to speak on, but I can tell you high level, if there's lawsuits and stuff like that could force it to disappear. I know there's a lot of that kind of stuff going on, a lot of privacy issues, and Google's been getting away with that stuff for a very long time though. And I truly believe that they have a get out of jail free card, because I
bet they do.
I truly believe they do, because I think they're passing information to the government or, national security or whatever. I've thought that for a long time, since 2006, when I discovered they were collecting all that data through safe web browsing.
Well, I do have to share one little thing. We were in Pryor, Oklahoma, which is a little tiny town outside of Tulsa. And we drove past Google's headquarters out there. It was humongous.
Yeah.
No name of anything. The only thing they had was a couple of their colors striped across the building, but they took over the Gatorade warehouse. They took over another big warehouse, and they've got this huge compound out there. And I mean, we just drove by and they're like, oh yeah, that's Google. And we're like, whoa.
Oh, and that's just the Oklahoma version.
Yeah. Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
But they are storing stuff up.
Yeah, they have data centers all over the place.
Hey, John, I want to just jump in. I apologize, Gwen. I was on Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
So I have the Be Connected platform.
Uh-huh.
And I do my private coaching calls on Zoom through that Zoom platform. And the other day I got an email from whatever the heck, Working Live or whatever it's called. And it says, "Hey, Allie, great news." So I opened it up and they're like, with our new artificial intelligence, we have analyzed all your Zoom sessions and here's the information. And they had 3 categories with 4 elements in each category. And they had my name and every person that I had talked to, and they banked it out. And I was like, exactly, Roger. I almost melted through my chair because I was like, oh, now I know we have to say yes and we sign up. And I thought, okay, I literally felt rage come up in my body. My blood started to boil. I was like, because they knew, they were like, and then they had the gall. They were like, "Oh, please answer this question. So tell us how we did, if we're accurate on all your," and then we're like, "You can use this for this and that and this." And I was like, oh my God, this is so intrusive. I feel like I got cyber raped, and my clients, I'm paying for privacy. And I was just like, OMG to the F, to the fuck, to the zillionth degree, squared, beyond squared. I was like, okay, I got to talk to John about this because my brain melted down. I was like, I don't even know what to do about this because I'm sure I signed something and I'm paying them. And I haven't used it now for my Zoom client meetings because I don't know what to do. I'm like, it's supposed to be a private, like, me and you, like, I could see if Roger and Michelle are having a private conversation and then they get AI analyzing. And I'm talking like, John, everything. And I was like,
but it's not that accurate. It's not that accurate. They do it. They're Working Live is doing it in the pretense of sending you information on how to interact with your client and how much. There's a graph that shows how much time you talk versus the client talked as a coach, et cetera, but it's not that accurate. It's pretty kind of general.
Right. So right, Randy, I guess you have it too. And right now it's general. So what I responded to them and I got a note back and they were like, well, that's why we're asking for your, like, they said, that's what they responded to. Well, we want the survey so that it can get better. And I said, so what do you have access to? And they said, everything. They analyze the video footage of your face, your facial expressions, your tone of voice, the content, the reaction, the people on the call. And I was just like,
were you recording these to the cloud?
Some when clients ask me, could you record the session?
Because with the Working Live, when you record to the cloud, they automatically transcribe it for you. So they've got it on their server to analyze it. But I believe with Zoom, see, Working Live is not Zoom. Zoom is its own thing. So Working Live is something that's added on. It's like a plug-in on top of Zoom.
Yeah.
And that plug-in, when you record to the cloud, they can take the cloud recordings and that's where they're doing their AI. So if you don't want that, just don't record them to the cloud, just record them to your hard drive.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure that will solve that problem for you.
Okay, thank you. I knew you
Never
would have
recorded to
something.
the cloud, even with Zoom. I always want to my own computer.
Record to my
because you can't, if you record your own computer, they don't do the transcription. They can't. And the transcription's pretty damn cool. If you interview somebody and you want to put it into a PDF and have them transcribe it on the fly for you, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And I just didn't, honestly, you're very strategic and like a chess player, right? A master chess player. I'm not so much, so I never thought about that aspect. I have recorded to the cloud to get the transcription and to give it to my clients. Yeah, so, okay, I'll try the not recording to the cloud. I'm not sure how I switch it over. And the other weird thing is that, now I guess Zoom now is making it really public when you're recording. You on my iPad and on my computer, you have to, it says where the session is being recorded. You have to say yes before they let you into the recorded broadcasting room, which is great. It's a safety feature. But on my iPad, when I go to the Zoom share screen mode and it's being recorded, like if I could not see any of you guys and you guys could see me and my screen, but I can't see you. And that's like, I've been trying to figure out how to fix that, or I don't know if that's just the new way it's working. I don't know if anybody else has experienced that. I have a new iPad and it's easier for me to take this, like I'll be traveling for the next 3 weeks. So I was going to bring my iPad, but it's weird and disconcerting to not see the person's face that you're talking to. For me, I mean, I'm trying to get used to it, but I don't know, John, if you knew how to fix that too. I have to remember about this cloud recording thing and record to my computer.
When you have the video up, like you'll have people that are out in rural areas, and if they have the video up, it could chew up all their bandwidth, and their stream signal could just go to hell in a handbasket. But that's how that goes. But back to Gwen, did you have a further thing to that question, or did
I
get it
was
answered?
just curious of like retargeting and whatnot, because I'm still liking, like, I know Steelhouse merged with Mountain and now they're merging with another one, but they're not pushing the retargeting as much. They're pushing more of the live TV, and I'm wondering if this is why.
It could be. They might be preparing for the worst. That's definitely a possibility. I don't see retargeting going away yet, or hopefully not anytime soon, because it's a great advertising mode.
Right. That's one of my main pushes.
one court case could stick a fork in it. And maybe they're preparing for that if it comes to that. I don't think it will. It's too widespread. I mean, Disney is doing it. When you walk in the park, they give you they scan you, I guess, and they give you some kind of a magnetic bracelet or whatever for when you're in the park. And that magnetic bracelet can be detected throughout the park. So like when a kid is walking by the Mad Hatter, it will show a picture of their name on the hat. And then they see their name on the hat and they want it, and they drive the parents crazy because they've already seen exactly what they want.
Right.
So, I mean, it's being used in a lot of different ways. So
that's kind of what I was thinking, but just hearing all this and knowing Apple's new safety thing and whatnot, and then Google announcing it, I'm kind of going, nah, this is interesting.
Yeah, and I don't really know that I would lean on Apple to be a cutting edge in that kind of a prediction. They do the weird shit. I mean, they do stuff just because they can, not because it's right or anything. But I wouldn't worry about it too much until it's really time to worry about it. But
okay,
in all cases, you always want to have backup plans. If retargeting is the only thing that you're pushing, then that might be a reason to not sleep very well at night. That's right. That's like, anything. If your income depends on something that somebody can take away from you, it doesn't matter what it is. If somebody can take it away from you, you might want to have multiple sources of that income.
Exactly.
That way you're not dependent on one. And that's just a good way to go through life worry-free, is having multiple sources of income. So don't put too many eggs in any one basket. But
yeah,
John?
sounds good. I was just curious of your take.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't worry too much about things till they disappear, but I always, lay backup plans for whatever. All right. Roger, was that you that?
Yeah, I had a privacy comment. Michelle and I have a need for a little bit extra layer of privacy, especially because when we meet people, we have different names. We go by different names than our real names.
Sure.
Except for a very small number. Most of our family and friends don't know of our double life.
Okay.
In fact, you, and many of you are strangers to me, but I know many of you here. You're the only people we've entrusted with our real name and said what we do, right? So this is a small trust circle here. But the weird thing is invariably we will give our alternate names to people that we're hanging out with. And then a few days later, boop, suggested as a Facebook friend, which means reciprocal. I now know their name and they know our real names. Even if we don't friend, the suggestion comes up. And we never, ever use Facebook, but they are so aggressive. And then everywhere else wants you to upload your contacts, WhatsApp and LinkedIn especially, and Messenger.
You know what you should probably do? You should probably create Facebook personas in those names. So then it'll be more likely for them to pop up. Because that's what they're doing. They're figuring out, what's what with that. And they are really good at making connections too. I've seen the same thing. Like,
yeah,
I'll meet somebody and, haven't even friended them. And then all of a sudden their friends are starting to show up.
Yeah.
On the suggestions. It's like, wow, how the hell did that happen? It's kind of freaky how much data, that is out there that they have. Kind of crazy.
Yeah, I on mine, Rich, I have a lot of connections up through my Facebook, and Rich is now, I think their AI is cross-referencing everybody's friends list with everybody else's friends list, because Rich is literally getting invitations to add a friend from my entire friend list. Like, he's like, who are these people? I'm like, oh, those people are all in our mastermind, or those people I know from Peak Potentials, or it's my entire list. And then he's getting people. So we noticed on him, because he doesn't have a big Facebook presence. He's always on it. But anyway, so now he's getting the people that he interacts with most, he's getting all these hits to be friends with all of their entire communities, not just one. Like they're serving it up on it's like you could scroll through and click, and you could just add in, accept or send an invite or accept an invite. So it seems like they're cross-referencing all of our friends lists now and across the board. Like, I might get Chris's friends list and Rogers and John, like y'all, if we're friends on Facebook, I might get your friends list to say yes to for when I get on Facebook. So that's what it looks like they're doing. And then that's not even to mention when people friend you from the ozone on Messenger, so anyway.
All right, Chris, you've had your hand up there for a while.
Hey, John. Hey, guys. It's been a while. It's been busy. So I had a quick question about an affiliate system we set up for a client, and basically we just wanted people to be able to create an affiliate program, log in and track an app, see their analytics. So when I did it, it basically has the entire left navigation of Kartra, which includes all of the things that you would normally see: my pages, my videos, my calendars. And when you click on it, it's this big advertisement that comes up that says, you're not able to see this because you haven't signed up with Kartra yet. Please sign up with Kartra, blah, blah, blah. And I was just wondering, is there a way to set that up so they don't see that? Or do I have to upgrade to a silver level? or something like it's just
No, I don't.
completely annoying and really cheesy, frankly. Because the customer just wants to get in and see their affiliate stuff. They don't want to see the whole advertisement card.
Yeah. No, I get that, but I don't think there's any way to get around that, because what's happening is they're basically creating a Kartra account on a free level that the only thing that's accessible to them is the affiliate program. That's what they're signing up to as a free level. And all the rest of the stuff, like once you have a Kartra account, all those tabs are standard in the account. But
Yeah.
like when you have a membership, like when I set up membership sites for people, I recommend that they put all the tabs at the top, whether they have access to them or not, when they click on them, to do the same thing. You know, it's a marketing upsell thing.
Got it.
Now, the thing I don't know, which I think I know the answer to, I think the answer to that is when they do sign up, it's through your affiliate link, because they're in your affiliate program. So I believe Kartra will credit you for that. So they're actually working on your behalf to make you more money.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's just the customer's like, hey, I just want them to see what their analytics and what their stats are. I don't want them to be marketed by Kartra. I was like, well,
Yeah.
no.
You might be able to go through and get the actual URLs and then create a control panel page for them where they can just click specifically and go right to that section inside of Kartra. Like you can create your own control panel for them on your site. I actually did that on my Internet Dominators site. I've got a client login page, and I don't send them directly to any given login because I've got multiple logins. So they go to a control panel page and they can click specifically where they want to go. And then it goes directly to that.
Could I build that in Kartra, or does that need to be done like in WordPress?
You can build it in anything. I built mine in WordPress. It's just a WordPress page.
Okay.
So you could build it in a Kartra landing page, no problem.
Or do it in a membership. Could we sign them up for a membership, and I can actually bill for that?
Yeah, I mean, you could do it any way you want, whatever the model is for what you're doing. If they're in a membership already, or if you want to get them into a membership, that would be fine. Typically with an affiliate program, though, you're not requiring them to be in anything.
Right.
You don't want to put too many hoops in front of them to get them to sell your stuff, right? The more people that sell it, the more you make. So less hoops is more money.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, thanks for that.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Anything else? Who else is up? I didn't see any more hands up, but all
Hey,
right.
John.
How's the boat fishing?
And the boat is awesome. I'm going to start putting up some dates for anybody that wants to hop on board and go for a ride.
Now that travel is a better thing, we can come back down. We're still in Maine. We'll be back hopefully this fall.
Yeah, well, cool. Randy, I heard you trying to pop through there.
Yeah, I'm coming to you off my phone, so sorry about the background noise.
Oh, no problem.
So one quick question, and I know we probably have to talk to you separately about this, but in terms of strategy sessions, if we get to a point where, we have some thoughts about what we want to do or what we envision we want to do, do you do strategy sessions?
Oh,
for
yeah,
example,
sure.
Yeah, for example, you're talking about membership sites. Down the road, I want to do a membership site, but I want to do a couple other things, but I want it to all work together, like somebody was saying earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe a brainstorming session or a strategy session to help us out.
Yeah. Actually, there's another level of this too that I call the apprentice program.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got an opening. I only take 8 people on at a time. And I've had an opening for quite a while that I haven't really announced just because I've been playing with the boat a lot. But I'm getting that all caught up. So I'll send an email out next week if anybody is interested in that. There's one opening for it. So I'll let you guys know.
All right.
But you know, I also do private consulting too. If you just want, you know, like a one-shot deal or something, that's no problem.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything you need.
Yoda. I mean, John, I won't be able to carry you on my back.
Well, you might in the water. No problems, only solutions. All right, guys. Well, if that is it, I'm going to get back to my 32-year anniversary here and see if I can't make something happen there. See if I can't make it to 33.
Oh, you
John,
have a
Happy anniversary.
Congratulations.
I didn't
Happy
think I was that old. I must have like got married at 3 years old or something.
32. That's awesome. Give Barb a big, well, I know you'll give her big hugs and kisses, but give us our love. That's great. Have fun. Man, 32 years. That's awesome.
Yeah, she wants to go ride around in the Zodiac in the little dinghy. So we might go do that.
That sounds like fun.
All right, guys. Well, have a great rest of the week, and we'll be back on. We're coming up on 4th of July. That's like Christmas time for me. So that'll be coming up here soon.
Take care.
You guys have a great week, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right. Bye.
Okay,
Good to see
thanks.
everybody.
Bye,
Bye.
Jeff.
Bye-bye.